Live. What is
Whoa.
going on, Miss Jamie, Mr. Eric? What's going on, folks out there in the Omniverse? Back again, Brad. I think this is our second series or our second video conversation of the OG Spotlight. And just a reminder, in case anyone's forgotten, the OG Spotlight is about highlighting the men and women that are doing amazing things to enhance the quality of life for people out there in the industry, and really not just the construction industry, like all industries. And so we got Miss Jamie Knox and we got Mr. Eric Barnes. And as they're telling us, Jamie's going to start telling us a little something about herself, and like free reign, Miss Jamie, you say what you want. And folks out there in the Omniverse, let us know you're there and let us know where you're checking in from. We always want to know who you are. So, Jamie, what you got, girl?
Well, what do you want to know? I grew up in Florida. I went to University of Central Florida for marketing. I started in the industry in DC. It was kind of weird. I had like a midlife crisis at 26 where like, is this going to start my life? And on a whim, I moved out to DC. I didn't know anyone, didn't know anything. Hadn't really found my grown-up job yet and was done with school and got there on a Wednesday, met with a recruiter on Friday and started my job on Monday, practically doing what I'm doing now. Started in this construction vendor consultant industry, started in the at a company called Printastat. So I was right when OSE printers came on board. I'm kind of dating myself. We moved from an ammonia-based print to digital construction documents. And so that's when I came into the industry and moved from DC to San Francisco to San Antonio, all with the same company. And then transitioned over to the construction design side, worked for Skanska for a little bit, met my husband there and figured one of us should not work there anymore. So he stayed, I left. Yep. And then I've been on the design and engineering and design side. So was an owner at Burien Partners and Big Red Dog. And we just went through buyout after buyout and figured I got tired of going to companies with them just selling immediately. So I came to the startup world where the whole goal is to sell the company. So here I am.
Here you are selling it. That is, oh, I love it, because that's a super windy path. And the more folks I get to interview and interact with, it seems to be a common theme. It's like super windy, even if they stay with the same company, like the type of roles that they navigate through. And I think it just speaks to their commitment, like your commitment, Jamie, to learn and grow and learn really quickly. And then, okay, I need something else. I need something else. I need something else.
So when I started at Cytaware, I came on board as a salesperson. So there was only 2 of us in the entire US when I came on board. So it was just Tori, who's one of our project managers, and she's actually in a new role as well. And then I was the national sales rep. And so I was just us 2 for probably about a year. And then we had some other folks join us. But then I would say 2 years in, I transitioned out of a typical sales role into their marketing and brand strategies. And it's really cool because Cytaware is allowing all of us to really wear different hats. We're getting to try different positions, really focus on what we're good at and great at, and also able to fill into the needs of the company. You know, one of the things I got to work on that was really cool in the brand strategies role was an agreement with AXA XL, right? So they're one of the largest underwriters for builders risk. Well, working on this partnership with them, it doesn't necessarily result in a deal today as a typical sales person, right? Because you live and die by the quarter. You got to make that quota. It was really a long-term play. So I got to work on this partnership, which I think is great. We've already had several customers coming out of that agreement. Yeah. And I feel the company now is benefiting from it.
That's amazing. Okay. So we got some people out there in the Omniverse saying hello. So we got Miss Holly Totten. Hello, Holly, coming in from Whitney, Texas. And Jamie, I don't know if you're working on your book yet, but when you do start working on your book, you got to connect with Holly. She's got like a writer intensive that helps people like get their book out of their mind. And she targets women specifically.
Wow. Okay. So she needs to send me a message, because after I went to Secret Knock with Felipe and Jen Lacey and met with everyone who literally had put a book out. They were giving me so much advice, and I really need to come back to it. I'm about probably 40 pages in.
There you go.
But I need a lot more. So
yeah, for the record, Lake Whitney is probably one of my favorite lakes.
Ah,
yeah.
Oh yeah. So Holly, you see that big old fish behind him? That's like he caught that. Some real serious fishermen we got with Mr. Eric Barnes. We also got DJ Hootie Hoo Adam out there coming in South Carolina.
No, he says they're better than UCF, but they're not.
Stirring up some dust. And then we got Mr. Emerson coming in from Chicago, Illinois. Emerson's awesome. He has like the coolest shoes. Me and him like totally jive on the shoe mode. Oh, totally, man. Yeah, he's got some slick shoes. Nice. And then we got Bradley coming in from Vegas. Mr. Bradley Parnell, what's up, baby? So, Mr. Eric, we haven't been able to hear much about you. What do we need to know about Eric?
So, I started my career as a general contractor. I deep down inside, I'm a builder at heart. I really enjoy building things. And through my career, I started building projects. And as I matured, I really enjoyed building people. I got to the point where I started enjoying building people and working with them through their careers and helping them grow. And I got to the point where, I started trying to figure out what was next. Right. Yeah. And so, with technology and the way it is advancing in construction, I had this opportunity with SiteAware, and I got this call from a recruiter, and he's like, "Hey, are you interested in talking with this CEO from Tel Aviv, Israel, about this startup?" I'm like, "Well, absolutely." So, I think it's very interesting with the way technology is advancing construction right now, that there is some opportunity with executives in construction to pivot their career and to do different things now that they haven't been able to do in the past. They get in a position where they get stuck and they're doing the same thing over and over and over. And now there's opportunities for them to look at different things and do different things with technology and construction, the way that there's so many different opportunities for people to pursue now. So it's just interesting the different routes that people are able to take now. It's not very often that people have a 25-year career in construction and can take something and pivot their career and go do something different like I did. So very fortunate to be with SiteAware. I do truly believe that this technology that they've developed with the digital verification is disrupting the construction industry, is going to be a standard in the future with the verification technology that they've developed, that it's going to be something that's going to be required on every project. I just, with the amount of human error that we still see every single day, the amount of money and risk that people are still absorbing, and with just the cost of everything going up and up and up every day, that it's just something that's going to be, with the amount of people that are using our technology now, that, the more people that see it and adopt it, it's going to be something that is going to be used regularly. Yeah.
And it feels so good to be part of something from the very beginning. Like that.
Yes.
Yes.
It's about that. Like,
it does.
I feel like being at the front end, the tip of the spear, helping this startup get some legs under it and get going.
It does. And one of the things, I mentioned is, helping people, right? And it feels so good to be able to help people, the quality of life. I hear people all the time say, my guys are, the job's going great. The job's making more money. The atmosphere of the job, the morale of the project so well. I can walk on the job. Everybody's happy. We're not working as many weekends. We're, everything's great. So we have the data to prove it. That's another thing that's very cool about what we're doing, is we have so much data that's coming out of what we're doing that we can tell the story. Right?
Yeah.
We have the data to show from when we start to when we finish, we can tell the story through the data, right? There's no, we're making the story through the data that's proving the facts, right? So it's really cool to be able to show the storyline through the project with data.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're out there doing the work, helping them, making things better. Like that's an end result. And then you have data that says, look, it works. This is the stuff. So people are wondering. I know they're wondering. So we got a little ticker down there. It says siteaware.com. Is that the right website? I hope it is.
Yes.
We won't get fired. So y'all, if you're curious, we're going to keep talking about it, but that's the website. Go ahead and check it out. And if when you check it out, leave us a comment saying, hey, I checked it out. It's the coolest and awesomest. So Jamie, how about you? The whole being a part of, like, you talked about building that long-term relationship and also the excitement around, man, I'm coming in on the front end. I don't even know what this is. And you've already said, like, your position has changed at least once since you got there. How does, like, professionally as a human being, what does that feel like for you?
I mean, I am not, it's funny because I feel like I'm such a risky kind of person, but I don't like change at all. So coming to the startup world has been, you know, kind of like the pit in my stomach, because you don't know what to expect from day to day. You know, I typically have always been a salesperson, right? I'm not a recruiter, but you know, when the CEO says, put your recruiter hat on, we need a rep in Houston, I'm smiling and dialing and reaching out to my existing network. And so typically that's not a tool in my toolbox, but it is now, because now I've been out on successful recruiting trips and we have some great people working underneath us now. And so I love that aspect of it. The part where you don't know what to expect every day kind of, you know, eats at me a little bit. Here we are on a podcast. And so, you know, that part, it's been good. I mean, you just have to kind of pivot pretty well and, you know, take the things that come at you and just see, to me, it's always the best interest of the company. How am I helping the company?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and so what stands out to me, Jamie, you and I, we know, we found out that we're like long lost cousins in some weird 10th degree of connection here in San Antonio. But Eric, you and I have been able to talk a little bit, but it's what resonates with me is that you have empathy for the workers, right? I mean, yes, your tool has to provide business results. And when I'm saying, I shouldn't even call it a tool, we'll say your solution has to provide business results. And when I say business results, we're usually thinking about money, right? We'll say we want to mitigate risk and we want to improve safety, we want to improve what, but does it make us more money? Does it save us time? Does it make us more money? Now, that's a fact. That's just nature. But what for you guys, y'all, the interactions that I've had with y'all so far, it's clear that you decided to join, be a part of this because you can see the human impact it has on folks. And Absolutely. So when it comes to risk and maybe some of the specifics around the site-aware service that's available, how does that, like, can you give an example or paint a picture of how that makes things better for the business and for the people that are involved within the projects?
Well, sure. Instead of the folks dealing with constant rework issues, they're actually able to do the job that they're supposed to be doing, right? Instead of dealing with RFIs and trying to come up with fixes on errors that were caused by human mistakes, they are able to focus on what's next. They're able to focus on 2 weeks down the road. They're able to focus on planning and executing and not, okay,
gotta go fix
this mistake. Now, what are we going to do to fix it this weekend? I've got to call and beg these guys. I got to get approval from the owner to spend their money to fix this mistake. They're going to be irritated at me because it's going to cost thousands of dollars. And I've got to, so we got to have this tough conversation, and I can't mess with that updating the schedule because now I've got all these other issues that I'm so you have all these other stressors on these people, right?
Yeah.
So it is a big stress for for these folks dealing with all these issues now, you eliminate those stressors when they can actually do the job that they're hired to do, because most of the time you don't have enough people on the job site to handle the work that you are contracted to do, much less
do it twice. Yes.
And you put the time factor into that too, right? You barely have enough time to do the work the first time, much less the second time. So there you go.
Yeah, thank you.
I was gonna say my perspective is a little different too, because I am married to a project manager,
Exactly.
contractor. So I can tell you from like the personal's perspective, when, I can't tell you how many dinners I would come home to that were completely interrupted with trade partners calling and screaming matches over the phone, because as a subcontractor was leaving the job site, backed over a sign, and that caused damage, and whose fault is it? And it was a lot of finger pointing, a lot of yelling. And I'm used to my husband bringing his homework with us. So him unwinding at the end of the day was brutal. And it's just because there is high emotion on the construction site. It is. And what SiteAware is doing is taking that emotion out of it. It is no more, when something goes wrong on a job site, right? What's the first thing that happens?
You blame somebody.
Who's at fault? Before you come up with the solution, it's who are we going to blame? Who's going to pay for it? And then you come up with the solution. SiteAware just gives you the solution. Stop pointing fingers. It takes the emotion out. Here are the facts. That plumbing sleeve is off by 2.5 inches. And we give you that corrective action. So just saying, here, go fix it. It needs to go up and to the right 2 inches. Here's the correct place for it to be put. And so with that, man, I feel like I can't tell you how many project managers are telling you my wife is happier now. I'm sleeping better at night. It's giving a better quality of life, which is, not necessarily what we set out to do, but really is a byproduct of this. And, the construction industry, we are plagued with addiction and divorce. Yep. And I know firsthand, my husband, he was heated when he came home from work, and you take it out on the people that are around you, and you just see his demeanor come down, a lot less screaming matches. He's in a happier mood when he comes home. So a lot of that is just, what we're bringing to the market. Yeah.
Super powerful. I mean, there's a few things, y'all know I'm a lean geek, right? I'm all into this continuous improvement thing. And for me, it's it's 100% important. Yes, I'm a human focused person. My drive is to remove the burden in poorly designed work so that it better serves the men and women that are doing the damn work. Pretty simple.
Yeah.
Now, but that kind of feels like rainbows and butterflies.
Exactly.
Right? It all that's the focus, but the byproduct, and I think y'all have hit it all in your discussion about SiteAware, is if it doesn't improve productivity, it doesn't improve safety, it doesn't improve quality, and it doesn't improve relationships, it's a miss. I'm not finished until we can figure out how this improvement enhances all four of those. Right. And so what I'm hearing, safety.
Yes.
Total, and it's hard. Here's the kind of one of the sneaky things, it can escape us. If I only have to do it once, my risk and exposure to soft tissue injury or catastrophic injury goes way down, right? If I got to go up that ladder 2 times to do the same thing, I just doubled my risk and exposure to injury.
Fact.
What you're saying is safety. We found it. We got it early. These are the adjustments. Go make the adjustment and carry that forward. Guess what? You just eliminated tons of risk on the human being. The relationship thing, Jamie, you're talking about it personally, right? Mm-hmm. People are going home. They ain't kicking the dog. They can be more present, right? They can be less up here, kind of more chill out, like Chewy likes to be, just chill and cruising around. The production, obviously, if you do it one time, guess what? Production. And then quality. This is all founded on the quality thing. So question is how, I'm a second grader and this sounds cool, but what does it actually look like? Is it I press a button and SiteAware says, here's all the answers?
That's exactly. It's an easy button. Eric, you want to take this one?
Sure. Well, I think one of our clients said it best the other day when he was getting interviewed in a panel. He said that it's all up to our engagement. The more we're engaged in it, the better outcome that we have out of it. So it's all up to the engagement of it. The more that you're engaged in it, the better the outcome of it. So we have, like I mentioned, from all the data that we have available out of it, you can use it from the pre-con, right? So we can pull data that gives you first time quality. So your pre-con group can use it to start picking trade partners, right? So they can measure first time quality to start figuring out which trade partners are better than others. So when you're going to an owner, when you're looking at a project and saying, hey, Mr. Developer, we suggest that you use this trade partner on this project based on these past dealings with him, because this trade partner on these past projects, this is their first time quality. This is the data that we have on them. Before, general contractors have had some very emotional rating systems, right?
Yes.
They have boxes that check and they rate them from 1 to 5. And if they get some kind of change order in there and somebody goes in there and is irritated with them and they give them a 1 instead of a 5, or if the foreman parks in the project manager's parking spot in front of their job trailer, they get irritated, they give them a 1 instead of a 5. They have facts now. They know their first time quality. Okay. So there's the more engagement that the general contractor has, the better one of the things, in my opinion, that we haven't talked about is our shell offering, right? We've talked a lot about the core. We haven't talked about our shell offering. Another thing that I think is very important that we should talk about is our interiors offering. Our interiors offering is something that's fairly new. It's about to be released on our platform. Okay. Let's talk about our shell, for example, for a minute. Our shell offering, to me, is our biggest risk that our general contractors have right now, because most of the biggest risk that general contractors have is water intrusion.
Yep.
And what happens when general contractors go build buildings in, a year and a half or something, general contractors start getting calls about water intrusion. And by that time, the trade partners have all been paid, right?
Yep.
Gone. And they're stuck doing investigative work. They've got a superintendent out there. Depending on the type of project, they're having to move people out of, tenants out of, people, and you start spending a lot of money, right? And that money is coming out of that general contractor's pocket until, one, they reach a deductible. They have to hire attorneys, right? So our shell offering basically captures all the shell components as that building is being built, okay?
Yeah.
And eliminates all those issues that come, and avoids any issues building that building, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we find all kinds of gasketing issues, waterproofing issues, any kind of problems that you can imagine building a building. It gives the owner as-built type conditions that's documented, that can be used for the future of that building, any litigation that may come about. It's a beautiful product, in my opinion. Eliminates so much risk with that building. Okay. That to me is the biggest risk mitigation tool that we offer for our general contractors. The core shell is the shell piece of our product.
And I kind of want to add too that it didn't, Eric didn't mention, but our system is verifying that facade of the building, that it's installed correctly, not just against the drawings, but it's verifying against the manufacturer specs, against RFIs, shop drawings. So anything that your team is using to build in the field, That's what our system is verifying against. We had a catch in Houston. I won't say who it was because I don't want to put anyone in unfavorable light. But a curtain wall installer was using the wrong size bolt and bracket for a curtain wall panel. We're all having supply chain issues, right? Yep. So they went and used what they thought would be an approved alternate. Our system immediately flagged that observation as not approved, notified the project team. They went ahead and verified through the manufacturer as well. And our system was correct. And they're pulling those panels down now versus finishing the building all the way up. And now there's no delay to the schedule. Right. You know, when I had mentioned the AXA agreement, this was an AXA XL client. So the insurance company is really happy that they're not going to be paying out $20 million for these panels. Yep. But the fact that we were proactive ahead of time. So it wasn't just about the documentation, which is great, which Eric mentioned for the life of the building, but it's, you know, preventing that mistake from happening. You know, what if we didn't catch it? You know, what if those panels would, you know, when they would have found out 5 years later, when you have a water feature on your third floor that was an
water feature, yes.
Yes, because water's pouring through. So, you know, the value there is just incredible. And this is why our project managers are sleeping better at night.
Yes. Yes.
The access to exterior of a building is we're overcoming the access to the exterior of a building. That's what our technology is doing. You know, typically you get to the end of the project, you punch it out, you get everybody to agree that it's done. You thank God it's done. You get your retainage and you go on down the road and you wait till the next rainfall and you chase water leaks. Right?
Damn it, it's gonna rain.
Yeah.
Let's go. Yep.
Man, you know, the first rainfall when I came on board, just a funny story real quick. The first heavy rainfall that we had when I came to work for Cytaware and, you know, tornado, rain, all that stuff. I woke up and I was like, man, I don't have to get any of those phone calls anymore from those owners saying, my building's leaking. It felt so good.
Oh, I bet.
So even Eric is sleeping better at night.
Yeah.
So I'm super curious. So like, it sounds like there's tons and tons of data, right? You can build a historic database on trade partners. It references specs, submittals, drawings. I'm assuming there needs to be like a digital model of the structure and the stuff. And what I'm thinking, like, okay, I see that, like that's the source material.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm thinking, okay, well, there's just like these army of nanobots and little spiders that crawl all around the building to double check. How does that happen? Like that piece there.
Okay, so what we do is we take your drawings, regardless of what format they're in. So we don't need to be in a BIM model.
Okay.
So we're verifying in a 2D. So what we would do, so when we say our core product, right? So this is your slab on grade, your elevated deck. So what we do is we come out, we send a pilot out to your job site and he flies 50 feet above the crane or above the deck, but below the crane. Nobody stops work. Nothing, you know, you wouldn't even know our pilot's there. About a 15-minute flight, takes thousands of pictures, starts processing that data. In about an hour and a half, you'll start to see the observations populate. So, verifying every slab edge, in bed, anchor bolt, plumbing sleeve, block out, anything that's been installed in that deck is not only in the correct position, but it's the right size, it's facing the right direction, it's the right color. And so we're verifying everything that's installed in that deck. And it's verifying it against all the documents. So let's say those plumbing sleeves are installed correctly per the plumbing drawings, right? Yep. But it sits a half inch outside that wall cavity. And you don't know that until your drywall guys move the wall. You go to install those custom cabinets that you just spent 6 months waiting for, and they don't fit. And so that's when you find out that those sleeves are in the wrong place. And so our system is verifying it, is encroaching on ADA compliance. And it tells the PM, hey, this is right per the plumbing drawings, but it sits outside the wall cavity, and shows you a picture of where it actually is installed versus where it should be installed. And it allows that project manager to make an educated management decision right there. How are we going to address it? Do we just move it right now? Are you going to send it for a redesign? Like, allow them to make those decisions. And I think that's huge for the market. Huge for construction.
And so you said pilot. Are we talking like F-16 pilot?
Yes, F-16s and fighter jets. No.
A Harrier jump jet?
Yep. So we use off-the-shelf drones. It's a drone capture method. When we're capturing our core, we use drones. When we're capturing the facade, like Eric had mentioned, the exterior of the building, that we use a high-powered camera on a robotic nimble. So just imagine like really big telescopes. Yep. And so we can capture from the ground as if you're standing just a few feet away. Right. So imagine that clarity. Imagine that your punch list or your checklist where you don't have to get someone on a scaffold or a boom lift or hanging from a swing stage.
Yeah.
The guy's on the ground. He's looking at pictures and can see clearer than if he's hanging off the side of a building. And so you're taking that person out of harm's way, so that you're helping your safety issues, time issues. How long does it take for that building inspector to come out and punch list or verify the exterior of the building? We're talking weeks, right? Sometimes months. What if I told you could have your data the next day? I mean, on a massive building. So it's incredible what we're doing for time and for quality.
Yeah. So I'm feeling like I need me some of that gear for my TikToks. I could make some awesome TikToks with that kind of gear.
I agree. Jesse, I think with your mechanical background, you'll appreciate this. One of the things that we find quite a bit is discrepancy in the drawings.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
From the mechanical drawings to the architectural drawings, when we go out and do verification in the slab on grade in our core product, we find that there's discrepancies. There's between the two, right? The mechanical may have laid it out per the mechanical drawings.
Yes.
But when we verify against the architectural, there's an issue, right?
Yes.
So they're able to correct that before the concrete's poured. Oh. Wow.
And we're catching it, even though it's been through BIM and it's been through clash detection and it's been coordinated by a VDC manager and an architect, and we're still finding those errors.
Totally. I would kiss both of y'all in the mouth, on the face, and I'll be appropriate.
I'm gonna say, my husband, so I don't know how he's gonna feel about
it. Right? Like that. Like I still see it happening with, like you said, Jamie, with like all the BIM, all the VDC, the whole thing. Where the gap, like there's so much minutia of information, super important, is in kitchen coordination.
Oh.
In commercial, look, Eric was like, "Oh God, what do you think? Am I right?"
Oh yes, yes.
Like the communication, just super simple, right? Plumbing. I'm a plumber. I know how to plumb, but I don't have all the information I need to get my water and waste outlet to all the stupid kitchen stuff.
Right.
And I don't find out until we're hooking up the kitchen equipment when I have the stuff in my hand, or on the HVAC side, maybe not even like fire safety side. There's a communication piece that goes from the building operating system, right? That hooks into all the fancy stuff, hooks into the exhaust fan, and hooks into the Ansel valve system.
Right.
Then nobody knows who's responsible for what.
Yeah.
Until we're getting final inspection and the fire marshals come in every single time. Then we say, "You do it." Like,
we're pointing fingers again. Get the contracts out.
Yes. So y'all fix that for me. I owe y'all a kiss.
Yes. I think another big one that is really popular right now is the hospitality side, right? Lots of hotels being built right now. Big ADA issues in hotels, plumbing, a couple of inches in a plumbing sleeve in a restroom in a hotel could potentially affect the whole floor in a hotel. That could be lots of money if you're tearing out a whole row of restrooms when you are finished a hotel room, right? So what we're doing is big. And there's verification. There's ways that people have done verification the old school way with people, right? Using old school tools that, on a good day, if a crew of 2 or 3 people can do 20 to 30% of, one trade a day, they're doing good. We're verifying 100% of everything in that slab in 15 to 20 minutes.
Wow.
And you're getting reports back starting in 90 minutes. You're getting a full report back in a platform in 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And you get all the data analytics to back it up. Pretty powerful.
Super powerful.
Very, very user-friendly platform.
Yes. I want to see it now. So I'm going to go peruse the website. Look, Jamie, Holly's calling you out. She's going to DM you about that book.
Yay.
It's coming out.
Yeah.
We also got Mr. Bradley says the communication stream helps identify and engineer the solution to how many W's are in WTF, right? Like one. What are we going to do? Thanks, Brad. I love Bradley. He's awesome. And then Hoots, he says, man, you should interview Chewy on the OG Spotlight. I've asked Chewy about interviews, and he said Chewy don't do interviews. So. Oh, I love it. So we're coming up on time. So let's transition into, well, first, what did we miss?
I don't know. That's on you.
You know, I think that one of the things that's coming out in my mind that we miss is how some of our clients are using this tool to help them sell projects.
Okay.
You know, I think some more of our sophisticated clients now are using this tool in their tool belt and are proving to their developers and their owners how they are saving them money in the long run. And they're using our technology to sell their developers, and it's working. I can tell you right now, it's working for them. So, you know, if there's any other GCs that are out there that are contemplating, I can tell you right now, I've seen GCs that are using our technology to sell clients, and it's working.
And you don't have to be the most technical savvy client. There, it is. Our interface is easy to use. It takes little to no work on your team's end. You know, there is some coordination with us accessing whatever your team is using to build in the field, but it really is low effort from your end and all the data that's coming back. It's easy for your team to read it in the field. You know, you don't have to be a super techie person. We've had some of, you know, we call them the vampires, the old generation, the guys that are out there and they're like, this is going to make my job harder. And you're seeing them coming around going, oh my God, if this was out 20 years ago, my life would be different. And so, you know, if the older generation, the boomers can do it, the younger generation is just going to gobble it up.
Yeah. And once it transitions from the sales team to our customer success team, man, they are absolutely amazing. They really foster the relationship, and they're in the background looking at the data, and they can tell when they're engaged and when they're not engaged. They know when to call those clients and say, hey,
what are you doing?
I see this observation. You got a problem.
Yeah.
They can say, hey, you might want to get your plumber engaged, or they know when to pull the trigger and when not. So I can tell you, our customer success team is incredible. So,
I mean, even Todd from Austin Commercial will say, like, SiteAware is an extension of his team. It's like we're so embedded in the project from the beginning through out in the field and how it affects the schedule. We're involved in every aspect, but it's what you put into it is what you put out of it. And Austin Commercial has really bought into what we're doing, and we have many successes on their projects. I mean, I don't want to say what we're finding. I'll let Austin Commercial say it, but definitely justifying whatever costs that they put in to have SiteAware on the project.
Yeah. Sure. So a couple of things that stand out to me, because I've been bit in the past where the service, the product sounds amazing. Like all my dreams are fulfilled, except now I need to hire an SME and dedicate them to operate the damn thing. Eric's like, yeah, I know that.
Oh man.
Like it becomes overly burnt, like the friction to actually deploy it, scale it within my business, the business I was at.
Yeah.
It was too much. So it's like, forget it. We'll just deal with the problem that we've been having. So another question I have, and then we'll roll into final thoughts. You know, clearly, or rather, the assumption I have is that GCs are your primary target in terms of customers. What's the likelihood that this solution could serve trade partners directly? So if, let's say we got Chewy's Plumbing and he's like, man, I got some quality issues. I need some help.
Tomorrow homes.
And like, is that possible for, say, a trade partner or trade contractor to come to Cytoware and say, hey, I want to do this stuff. I want all the little spiders and the nanobites. Is that a thing?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Webcore Concrete is an enterprise client of ours. We do 100% of their work. So
Wow.
we're already doing it. So trade partners, give me a call.
Boom.
Definitely some more of the sophisticated trade partners are wanting to use us, and you definitely see them giving the general contractors more. I feel like they're probably giving general contractors that use Cytoware probably better pricing.
Sure. Oh, no doubt. That's the math I'm doing in my head. Like, oh, yes, there's a factor, right? There's the butt head factor. There's the jerk factor. There's the clueless
factor.
Yeah.
Jesse, you've been on that trade partner side. You know when you're pricing a project okay.
Yeah. Hey, we want this project. Who's going to be the super and the PM?
Exactly.
Oh, 1.3 on labor.
That's exactly right. You know how it works.
Yes.
So
yes.
if you've been on a project when somebody's using Cytoware and it's proven, right, and you know that you're going to eliminate rework and you've got this great tool and you can take this project for X amount cheaper and you know that it's going to be successful, absolutely.
Yeah. And everybody wins. GC wins, client wins. Like, that's where we need to get. And that's what excites me about what y'all are doing. So closing thoughts. We'll start with Miss Jamie. Closing thought for today.
So one thing I kind of wanted to mention, I know I want to hijack this podcast a little bit. So the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, in a effort to cure blood cancer, runs a Visionary of the Year campaign. So I have been nominated. It is, it's a 10-week fundraising philanthropic fundraising competition. It kicks off February 22nd. And ends on Cinco de Mayo. So I might be calling Chewy to be on my team to help me raise some money.
You got it, girl.
Yes. And ways that you can support me. So you can obviously donate to my fundraising page when this kicks off on February 22nd. Or if you'd like to join my team, send me an email. I'm looking for people to help me raise money. It's for a great cause and for a great organization. So.
Oh, girl, I love
that. Was my final thought.
Message you on the LinkedIn or the Facebook, and you take it from there. Or?
Yep. So LinkedIn, just send me a message, Jesse. I mean, obviously, love the support through the channel, but you personally, as a friend, would love for you to join my team.
Absolutely, you can count on that. Thank you,
Jim Lacey. There's a team meeting soon, so get ready.
Oh, it's coming! It's coming. So the competition is the 22nd through the 5th of May.
Yep. Can't forget Cinco de Mayo. That's an easy day to know when it stops.
There we go. Bam. Beautiful. Thank you for that. Mr. Barnes, take us home.
I think final thoughts. You notice some very unique coloring on our website and on our web pages and on our platform. That's by design.
Okay.
That is for colorblind people, so they can recognize the color. So I think it's very important that to recognize that, we have taken those people into account. So, I think that's important to note.
Yeah, that's huge. Thank you for sharing that, because it's such a fine detail. Because I've looked at your website and I like the colors, but I never would have connected to it. So what that translates to is inclusivity.
Absolutely.
Right? And really taking into account all of the details.
Yeah. And
as many people as possible.
Yeah. And I think that's important, Jesse, when you hear people say hashtag inclusive, right? Yep. I think this really takes it.
That shows it, demonstrating inclusivity.
Absolutely.
Well done. All right, y'all. Well, folks out there in the Omniverse, thank you. You already know, Cytoware.com. We got to support Jamie. when you're going fishing, you got to call Eric because he's going to
Please.
Right? Look at that thing. That's a big old fish, man. I'm a little jealous there. And we'll see y'all again soon. Peace out. Y'all have an awesome Friday.
All right. Thanks, guys.